My name is Charla Sullivan. I'm the Community Affairs Representative for EBMUD that represents the Berkeley area all the way west of Hills to Crockett. And today's meeting is the Summit Pressure Zone South Pipeline Replacement Phase 1 community meeting. So welcome, community members. I know everyone's very busy and probably has been on Zoom for various meetings all day, so we will keep this concise. If you have questions, everyone is muted. If you'd like to unmute, you can put something in the chat to say you'd like to ask a question. We would like to run through the presentation today. And then if there are questions about the project at the end, then please do ask your questions. Or if they come up during the presentation, you can drop them in the chat so you don't forget them. And then we will do our best to answer them live. And any questions that you have, we will have a question and answer sheet that will be posted on the project's website so that you can access the information anytime. In addition, this presentation will be posted online. This meeting is being recorded. So if you have any questions, you can always reference the recorded meeting, which I will post next week on the website as well. Without further ado, I would like to introduce the project manager, Krista Araika, who's with us today to talk about the Summit Pressure Zone South Pipeline Replacement Project, what it is, what you can expect, and what it's going to look like. Krista?
Thank you, Charla. Good evening. My name is Krista Araika, and I was the project manager of the design phase of this project. This evening, I'll be presenting an overview of the project and what you can expect during the construction phase. Construction is scheduled to begin this fall. Here's an outline of the presentation. I'll start off with an overview of EBMUD's water system. Then I will review the project background. I'll discuss the construction schedule and pipeline construction process. Next, I'll review some of the standard practices and procedures to minimize temporary construction impacts, including noise control and monitoring, tree protection, and traffic control and parking restrictions. Then I will summarize the pavement and other surface restoration for the project. Finally, I will conclude with information about how to find project updates as the construction progresses and where you can direct any future project questions. For any who are not familiar with EBMUD's water system, you might be wondering where your water comes from. Most EBMUD water begins as snowmelt from the Western Sierra into the McElmy River. It is collected in Pardee Reservoir before traversing 90 miles of pipeline to the East Base reservoirs. Once the water makes it to the service area, it is treated at one of our treatment plants and then distributed out into the service area, first in large transmission pipelines and then in smaller distribution pipelines. EBMUD water serves more than 1.4 million people in a 331 square mile area in parts of Alameda and Contra Costa counties. If you have flushed the toilet, used tap water, or showered today, then EBMUD is part of your daily routine. In 2005, EBMUD completed a study of its Summit Pressure Zone to determine what improvements were needed to improve water service reliability. The Summit Pressure Zone is a long and narrow pressure zone stretching 8 miles from El Cerrito to Oakland. It serves portions of Oakland, Berkeley, El Cerrito, and Kensington. The study recommended a project to replace pipelines in the southern portion of the pressure zone to improve connectivity and realign critical pipelines outside of the Hayward Fault Zone. In 2017, EBMUD developed and defined the project as 3 phases, which are shown on this slide. The first phase, which is located in the center of the slide, will be completed now. The second and third phases are projected for design and construction in the next 5 to 15 years. Notice of exemptions were filed for phase 1 in early 2021. The existing Summit Pressure Zone transmission pipeline alignment, shown in blue on this slide, is located along the Hayward Fault, shown in light yellow on this slide, near the UC Berkeley Clark Kerr campus. Fault creep has caused and will continue to cause pipe breaks within the fault zone. The phase 1 project was developed to address these issues. The project includes replacement of the existing transmission pipelines that traverse the Hayward Fault and have leaked numerous times. The project spans 2 cities, Berkeley and Oakland. Within City of Berkeley, the project is located along Dwight Way, Piedmont Avenue, Forest Avenue, Claremont Boulevard, and Garber Street. Within City of Oakland, the project is located along Tanglewood Road and Claremont Avenue. The project also includes work on and adjacent to the UC Berkeley Clark Kerr campus between Dwight Way in Berkeley and Stonewall Road in Oakland. The project scope includes installation of 4,950 feet of 24-inch pipe underlying Berkeley and Oakland city streets, shown in green on this slide. The project includes installation of 515 feet of 22-inch pipe and 715 feet of 36-inch pipe in Claremont Avenue, shown in blue on this slide, which will replace existing pipes at that location. These new pipes will be installed with fiber optic sensing cables. EBMUD partnered with UC Berkeley during the design phase of the project to develop an innovative method for utilizing fiber optic technology on this project to measure pipeline strain in the fault zone. After installation, UC Berkeley will collect pipeline strain data. EBMUD will use this data to make any repairs if needed prior to a pipeline rupture and to inform future asset management decisions. The project includes installation of 620 feet of 12-inch pipe within EBMUD right-of-way on and adjacent to Clark Kerr campus, shown in blue on this slide, which will replace existing pipe at that location. This pipe serves the Clark Kerr campus. The project includes installation of a 20-inch valve in Dwight Way, shown on this slide with an orange circle. The new valve will enable isolation of the existing pipe across the fault if needed for a repair after an earthquake event. The new 24-inch pipe will replace the pipe shown in red on this slide. After the new pipes are installed, approximately 1,700 feet of existing pipe will be abandoned in place and filled with concrete. All new pipes will be steel or high-density polyethylene pipes, which will significantly reduce maintenance costs and improve the reliability of water service in your area. Now let's look at the overall construction schedule. Please note that this slide contains anticipated construction scheduling and is subject to change based on actual progression of the work. The construction contract for the project was awarded in August 2021 to Kratos Incorporated. The construction phase will span from approximately fall 2021 to spring 2023. Within this time frame, utility investigation is anticipated for November 2021. Following these investigations, pipeline construction will begin in approximately November 2021 and continue through November 2022. This slide lists approximate schedule info for the various work locations, which will be shown again on a map on the next slide. After pipeline construction in paved areas, final paving is planned for approximately October 2022. Pipeline abandonment will follow the pipeline construction on and adjacent to Clark Kerr campus, and abandonment is anticipated for December 2022. The Clark Kerr track restoration will follow in December 2022. Finally, project closeout is expected in early 2023 and contract completion is anticipated by March 2023. This slide will summarize the pipeline construction schedule by work location. Pipeline construction will start on Claremont Avenue in November 2021 and is expected to be completed by March 2022. The valve installation in Dwight Way will be completed between November 2021 and March 2022. Work will then progress along city streets from approximately June 2022 through September 2022 to complete the 24-inch pipe installation. Pipeline construction adjacent to Clark Kerr campus and track will be in approximately November 2022. The pipeline abandonment work will follow in December 2022. And please be reminded that these scheduled projections are approximate and subject to change based on actual progression of the work. Work hours for this project are typically 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, with the following exceptions. Work on the west side of the Dwight Piedmont intersection is limited to 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Work near Emerson Elementary School, which is located at Forest and Piedmont, shall be limited to 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, if work is performed when school is in session, to avoid pickup and drop-off times. Work within City of Oakland streets is limited to 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Work on and adjacent to Clark campus is limited to 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday for work within the track area, and 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday for work outside of the track area. There will be limited night work for temporary service outages to UC Berkeley facilities for service transfers from the old pipeline to the new pipeline. You might be wondering what to expect during construction. Here's a photo of what typical large diameter pipeline construction looks like. This photo was taken from a recent pipeline construction project of a 24-inch to 30-inch pipeline. As you can see, the equipment required for the work is large and takes up a lot of space. During construction, there will be increased truck traffic and heavy equipment in the street, but this will be temporary. The long-term benefits of the project are brand new pipelines and a more reliable water system. The new pipelines will be installed primarily via open cut trench excavation, which is the same installation method shown in this photo. Other than a portion of pipe adjacent to the Clark Kerr campus, which will be slip lined, which means the new pipe will be pulled into the existing pipe. This next slide illustrates the typical progression of pipeline construction activities down a street. After the street is surveyed and marked and equipment and materials have been staged at or near the site, then pipeline installation can begin. The first step is pavement cutting or saw cutting the trench line. This is what you'll see progressing down the street first. That is followed by digging or excavating the trench. Then the new pipe can be installed. This includes lowering the pipe into the trench, welding the pipe segments together, and then backfilling the trench. Next, the trench will be covered with temporary paving. After the entire pipeline is installed, the new pipe will be tested and disinfected. Then the new pipeline is connected to the existing water system and placed in service. The last construction activity is final paving. Prior to the start of construction, construction signs, similar to the ones shown in these photos, will be posted on either side of the project extents. Here's some sample photos of construction activities from a large diameter pipeline project. This photo shows pipelines being unloaded from a truck once they are delivered to the site. This photo shows an excavator digging a trench in the street for the new pipeline and a dump truck receiving the excavated material for off-haul. This photo shows a pipeline segment being lowered into the trench. After the pipeline segments are placed in the trench, the segments are joined together by welding or fusion. Then the trench is backfilled with sand and soil and compacted. Finally, asphalt is installed over the trench area. Another part of the pipeline construction process that you may see in your neighborhood is pipeline flushing. Pipeline flushing is a critical step to keep your water safe. During flushing, customers may see large volumes of water discharged into storm drains or sewers. The photos on the left-hand side of the slide show flushing into a sewer. EastBayMUD neutralizes chlorinated water before it enters storm drains to prevent impacts to aquatic life or habitats. It values conservation and water reuse, especially in times of drought, and works to reuse flushed water by capturing the flushed water and reusing it for irrigation when possible. The photo on the right-hand side of the slide shows flushing into a mobile tank. Now let's look at some of the standard practices and procedures used to minimize temporary construction impacts. I have listed many on this slide, but I will highlight some of the key ones shown in bold that you might be interested in. I'll start with noise control. Construction noise will be minimized to the extent feasible throughout the project. East Bay MUD will work as quickly and safely as possible to minimize disruptions. Construction activities will be limited to Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., except as previously noted. East Bay MUD will provide community notifications in advance of work activities. Next, I'll discuss tree protection. There are many trees along the project alignment within City of Berkeley. So during the project design phase, East Bay MUD coordinated with the City of Berkeley Urban Forestry Unit regarding tree protection measures. During construction, a certified arborist will prepare a specific tree protection plan for City of Berkeley approval. The certified arborist will also direct all tree protection and any required tree trimming and pruning operations. Protection will be via City of Berkeley procedures and include exclusion fencing and wrapping. If excavation is within 5 feet of a tree trunk, East Bay MUD will hand dig to expose tree roots and prevent injury. This project includes pipeline installation at Monkey Island, which is located at Claremont Boulevard and Garber Street in Berkeley. This slide shows the pipeline design for this location. As you can see, the proposed pipeline alignment, highlighted in blue, goes through the island and between 2 existing trees, highlighted in green. These trees will be protected during construction. This image is along Claremont Boulevard looking south toward Monkey Island and shows the existing trees. The approximate proposed pipeline alignment is shown in blue. East Bay MUD will coordinate with City of Berkeley to address landscape disturbances in public areas such as this one that may result from construction activities. This project will require removal of 3 eucalyptus trees in East Bay MUD right-of-way on and adjacent to UC Berkeley Clark Kerr campus. East Bay MUD coordinated with UC Berkeley regarding the work and tree removals in this area. Per UC Berkeley direction, the 3 trees will not be replaced. The locations of the trees are highlighted in yellow in the design detail at the bottom of the slide. The slide also includes a photo of the wooded area looking north toward Dwight Way for reference. Now let's talk about traffic control and parking restrictions. As you saw in earlier slides, large diameter pipeline construction requires a lot of space for the necessary equipment, materials, and a safe work zone. In order to safely and efficiently complete the work, there will be temporary road closures, lane reductions, and parking restrictions as necessary. For the road closures, the road will be closed on a block-by-block basis to through traffic. Detours will be posted for through traffic, including both vehicles and bicycles. Sidewalks will remain open for pedestrians on at least one side of the street. Emergency and fire vehicles, garbage collection, and U.S. Postal Service will be allowed access. Notifications will be provided in advance to police, fire, other emergency services, impacted schools, AC Transit, and waste management for coordination purposes. Access to private residences can be coordinated as needed during closures. Local residents will be allowed access to driveways to their homes, but may encounter delays depending on the stage of construction. For example, residents may have to wait until construction equipment is cleared or the site is made safe before passage is permitted. Therefore, residents are encouraged to park outside of work zones during work hours if possible. This allows the construction work to go faster, because otherwise the field crew will be stopping work to plate a trench for a vehicle to pass through the work zone, which takes time and delays the project. If residents have mobility limitations, they may contact East Bay MUD Community Affairs to coordinate accommodations. I'll have contact information at the end of this presentation. For any unforeseen access requirements that may come up, residents can coordinate with East Bay MUD field staff on the spot. At the end of each workday, open excavations will be covered with steel plates, so no coordination is necessary in these instances outside of work hours. Parking in work areas will be restricted during work hours, but will be available outside of work hours and on weekends. Local residents will be notified via signs about parking restrictions and postcard notifications about road closures. Parking restriction signs will be posted at least 72 hours in advance of closures. The full roadway will be reopened and on-street parking will be restored during non-working hours. The new pipelines that will be installed in Claremont Avenue will be joined above ground and staged outside the trench in the shoulder of the road until installation because of the existing underground utility congestion in Claremont Avenue. This slide shows the staging area location highlighted in yellow along the south side of Claremont Avenue for that purpose. This is a no parking zone, so material staging at this location will not impact parking. Let's take a look at the work location near Clark Kerr campus and discuss access during construction. East Bay MUD has a license agreement with UC Berkeley for a temporary construction easement, including a staging area for the pipeline construction activities. The temporary construction easement area is shown with hatched patterning on this slide. East Bay MUD will erect and maintain temporary fencing around the construction limits. The staging area is a 2,300 square foot unimproved area off of Dwight Way, outlined in red on this slide. The staging area may be used for storing equipment and pipe during the construction activities at this location only. The staging area will not be used for the duration of the project construction. Pipe that will be used for this portion of the project may also be stored in East Bay MUD's right-of-way on and adjacent to Clark Kerr campus during construction activities at this location only. Prior to the pipeline installation in this location, the pipe will need to be laid out and temporarily encroach on Dwight Way and on the Clark Kerr track. The additional work zones on Dwight Way and on the southeast portion of the track will only be used during the actual pipeline installation. No pedestrian access is allowed within the construction zone with some exceptions. East Bay MUD will provide access to UC Berkeley maintenance vehicles from Dwight Way at all times during construction as shown. East Bay MUD will monitor the pipe laydown area on the southeast portion of the track and direct UC Berkeley field users around the work zone to access the soccer field as needed. Now let's look at the pavement and surface restoration details for this project. Restoration will vary by project location. For work within paved roads, there will be restoration in the form of 1 foot T-cut pavement restoration over the trench area per city requirements. On Claremont Avenue, there will be pavement restoration of the full width of the road since there will be pipeline installations impacting both lanes of that road. For the work area on and adjacent to the UC Berkeley Clark Kerr campus, the unpaved areas will be backfilled and compacted with class 3 material, which is clean or native soil. The track area will be restored in kind with Duratrax warning track per UC Berkeley requirements. This is an engineering product made of crushed red lava rock. The sample photos you'll see on this slide illustrate the progression of pavement restoration that you might see on your street. During pipeline construction, you may see plates covering trenches in the street. Later, you'll see temporary paving over the pipeline trenches. After all pipeline construction activities are completed, you'll see final paving in the form of trench pavement restoration, similar to the photo on the bottom left, or for Claremont Avenue, pavement restoration of the full width of the road, similar to the photo on the bottom right. Lastly, I want to provide some information about air valves. The project includes the installation of 8 air valves behind existing face of curb within city right-of-way, similar to what is shown in the photos on this slide. Residents and other stakeholders will be notified about air valves that will be located near their properties. The air valve enclosure is green and is approximately 12 inches wide by 24 inches tall and 24 inches long. Air valves are an important component of the pipeline system. During construction, air valves will function as vents for the pipeline when it is filled with water and facilitate water quality sampling prior to the new pipeline getting connected to the water distribution system. After construction, air valves function automatically to release air trapped in the pipeline. The concrete or planar strip around the air valve will be restored after installation. In just a moment, we'll open the floor for questions, but I want to mention that East Bay MUD will be collecting and compiling any questions received this evening, as Charlotte mentioned, and posting the responses to these questions on the project website. There's a link to the project website at the bottom of this slide. As Charlotte mentioned, slides from this presentation will be posted on the project website. For any questions about the project after this evening, please contact East Bay MUD Community Affairs by email at construction-north@eastbaymud.com or by phone at 510-287-7208. If calling outside of standard business hours, please call 1-866-403-2683. During construction, East Bay MUD will provide project updates to residents via postcards, next door, email, and the project website. This concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. I will turn things back over to Charlotte at this point to open it up now for any questions.
Thank you so much, Krista, for your presentation. Very informative. East Bay MUD is really happy to have this opportunity to help serve our customers clean, fresh drinking water and update our system, since infrastructure is one of our main focuses to make sure that we can provide everyone with that clean, fresh drinking water that you all deserve. So with that being said, there are a few questions in the chat. And as Krista mentioned, I can be reached via email at the Construction North. I posted it in the chat and we'll post it again. If there's questions at this point, I'm going to read the ones in the chat for Krista to answer. The first is, generally speaking, for how long or how many days will any one block experience work period road closures that would restrict access to residential driveways?
I think I'm still unmuted here, correct?
You are.
Okay, great. It depends on the block, the length, etc. But generally speaking, you might expect about 80 feet of pipeline to be installed per day. And so we roughly approximate maybe 2 weeks per block, again, depending on the length of the block.
Okay, sorry, I couldn't figure out how to unmute myself. Thank you, Krista. Then there's a question that says, will there be any other staging areas than those listed used for this project?
It's really at the contractor's discretion. East Bay MUD doesn't prescribe any other staging areas to the contractor for this project. It's kind of a means and methods question for the contractor, where they'll stage their material and equipment. So at this point, I don't know that any other staging areas have been presented. But if anyone from the construction management team has any more information, please share that if you have any.
I'm gonna unmute Ben. Tell me.
Yeah, we're still in early days on the project, so the contractor hasn't found a staging area yet.
Thanks, Ben. Ben, when we have that information, is that something we'd be able to share with the community?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Great. I'll make sure to put any staging areas known in our notice when that goes out to the community when we are getting ready to start these more major portions of the work. Moving on to the next question. Can residents impacted have preferential parking privileges in the neighborhood just outside of the construction site?
Charlotte, I might ask for your help answering that question because I know you're familiar with the Berkeley parking zones.
Yes, if there is a restricted parking area, sometimes the city will turn a blind eye if it's someone in the direct adjacent parking zone. I'm not sure if this area has a permit requirement. So we need to look into that and talk to the city about that. The person who asked that question, hold on. Anders, I'm gonna ask you to unmute so you can clarify that question, okay? Hold on one second.
Okay, thank you so much. We live at the top of Dwight Way, and there is only one way in and out of our house, basically down Dwight. And so that will be severely impacted by this project. So we probably would have to park our cars outside of this area. We won't have access to our house at all. And it's a very popular hiking area, and lots of people are parking in the neighborhood. And I was wondering if there is a possibility to get some preferential parking spots for people who are severely impacted, such as ourselves, just outside. It's a very steep hill, and it's kind of difficult to get groceries in and out and so on. So we don't want to have to compete with all the hikers who want to use the Claremont Canyon recreational area.
Thank you so much, Anders. Krista, quick question to follow up then would be, I see that Hillside is an option, a kind of a thoroughfare on Dwight Way, since our work zone is kind of beyond that. However, when we do the valve work, will there be a road closure for the valve work? And can we allow passage through that area during that particular phase of work, which would otherwise cut off the area that Anders is speaking about?
Yeah, good question. And I was going to mention, based on my recollection of the traffic control plans, I don't think the upper end of Dwight is planned to have full road closure. I think it's just a lane reduction, but we can certainly double check that.
Okay, that will be great. Thank you.
I'll make sure that gets answered in the FAQ that we're putting together. Okay, the next question is, Julie, can we ask questions live about the staging area? Yes, you can. I'm going to ask to unmute. Okay, give me 1 second. All right, Julie, you should be able to unmute.
Okay, yes. So I think this may be directed best to Ben Townley, but there's an area at the Smith-Fernwald intersection that had been used in the past by another contractor. And it's very loud for a number of residents, and it had been used as a staging area for an ongoing 2-year previous project. And the whole neighborhood really has a sore spot about that being used in an ongoing way for very loud gravel and heavy equipment very early in the morning and very late in the evening. So I guess I just want to register our objection to any consideration of that Smith-Fernwald area next to the Smith House as an additional staging area. I understand. We really appreciate the renovation of the pipelines. We're excited about that. That's great. We appreciate you maintaining the water lines. But for this neighborhood to have to endure the very loud construction style staging areas for year after year after year for the whole city of Berkeley is just unacceptable to us.
Thank you, Julie. And I know we've spoken in the past about this as well. So thank you for voicing your concerns over that particular staging area.
Thank you.
When we know more about what our contractor wants to do and what staging areas they have selected, I'll work with Ben on that and notify the community accordingly. Okay. Thank you, Dan, for saying that much of the parking area is subject to Berkeley Permit D. I'll take a look into that. Sounds like that we won't be cutting off access in that particular area mentioned. If anyone does have a parking concern in your specific area, please do just reach out to me. If anyone has questions that you're not able to leave in the chat, you can raise your hand, I believe by pressing 9 if you're on the phone, or you go to participants and you can raise your hand and I will unmute you at this time to ask your question. Okay, If there are no other questions, we can wrap up this meeting. I'll make sure that we do have answers to those questions online when the meeting is posted. And thank you all for your patience while we work to improve your water system. This type of pipeline is a very large pipeline that moves water, as Krista mentioned, through the pressure zone. East Bay MUD has a large complex water system and many pressure zones. So this pressure zone, it's very important to be able to have system reliability. This is different than the types of pipes that you see that when we do pipeline work in your area for distribution pipe. And I wanted to just address this because it came up recently in a question someone asked me prior to the meeting who could not make it, in case this question is being wondered by anyone else. These are much larger diameter pipelines and they are not the ones that directly feed your home. With that being said, I'm going to put my email once again in the chat. So if anyone has questions, you can email me and I will work with the project team to have your question answered. I am your primary point of contact as the project progresses and before it starts. So if you have questions, please reach out to me. If I'm out, if you send it to Construction North, then anyone in my work group will get it. So just because I'm gone doesn't mean your question won't get answered. There's one more question that says, what is the earthquake safety parameters for this very large pipeline?
Okay, I'm still unmuted. Yeah, East Bay MUD designed these pipelines to ALA standards for seismic areas, and we consider these pipelines critical. So definitely designed accordingly.
Great. All right, folks, I'm going to put again into chat once more. Oh, there's another message. Oh, thanks, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you as well. If you guys have any other questions, let me know. And here's the email. Please save the contact information. It's also on the project website, which is that's the project website, eastbaymud.com/summitpz1. At this time, this concludes the presentation. Thank you so much to Krista and our project staff. And if you have questions, again, you can contact me, Charlotte Sullivan, at the information that was included. And have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.